First up is Solicitor General of the United States, John Sauer, who's speaking on behalf of the United States.
Mr. Chief Justice, and may it please the Court. On January 20th, 2025, President Trump issued Executive Order 14160, protecting the meaning and value of American citizenship. This order reflects the original meaning of the 14th Amendment, which guaranteed citizenship to the children of former slaves, not to illegal aliens or temporary visitors.
Trump's executive order not only quoted from the 14th Amendment, but restored its original meaning. During the Senate debate on the joint resolution that would become the 14th Amendment, Senator Jacob Howard Merritt proposed adding the words, "and subject to the jurisdiction thereof." This was his explanation on the floor of the Senate. This amendment, which I have offered, is simply declaratory of what I regard as the law of the land already, that every person born within the limits of the United States and subject to their jurisdiction is by virtue of natural law and national law a citizen of the United States. This will not, of course, include persons born in the United States who are foreigners, aliens, who belong to the families of ambassadors or foreign ministers accredited to the government of the United States, but will include every other class of person. This makes it quite obvious that the legislative intent was to limit birthright citizenship to children whose parents were subject to the United States, rather than other nations. That didn't stop multiple judges from attempting to maintain this unconstitutional view of birthright citizenship.
Multiple district courts promptly issued nationwide or universal injunctions blocking this order, and a cascade of such universal injunctions followed. Since January 20th, district courts have now issued 40 universal injunctions against the federal government, including 35 from the same 5 judicial districts. This is a bipartisan problem that has now spanned the last 5 presidential administrations. Universal injunctions exceed the judicial power granted in Article 3, which exists only to address the injury to the complaining party. They transgress the traditional bounds of equitable authority, and they create a host of practical problems.
Now, what is the jurisdiction of lower courts? When created by Congress, the district and circuit courts were given specific geographical limitations to the cases they could hear. Now, generally, a court only has jurisdiction over the parties to the case. However, what happens when one of those parties is the United States of America?
Such injunctions prevent the percolation of novel and difficult legal questions. They encourage rampant forum shopping. They require judges to make rushed, high-stakes, low-information decisions. They circumvent Rule 23 by offering all the benefits but none of the burdens of class certification. They operate asymmetrically, forcing the government to win everywhere while the plaintiffs can win anywhere. They invert the ordinary hierarchy of appellate review. They create the ongoing risk of conflicting judgments. They increase the pressures on this court's emergency docket. They create what Justice Powell described as repeated and essentially head-on confrontations between the life-tenured and representative branches of government. And they disrupt the Constitution's careful balancing of the separation of powers. I welcome the court's questions.
Solicitor General Sauer points out what, to me, are the 2 greatest problems with these injunctions. Not the percolation of novel legal questions, but forum shopping and low information decisions. Forum shopping, the practice of finding a judge who agrees with you, not only shows that our current justice system is neither blind nor apolitical. The question of low information decisions is something we'll come back to later in the episode.